Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Hope you're all doing well. Hope everything's loud and clear for you guys. And thank you, Live with Rusty and Badzilla and BDBSSB for hosting the show tonight. We're going to get going in a minute. Live with Rusty, how do you change names of a cell point? If I don't forget, remind me, but we'll cover that when we get out of the map tour of the day. And it's pretty simple, so we'll try to get to that. Hey, Amaki and Scott Anime, welcome to the stream. Alright, so here's where we are. Hopefully, I've got 99% of the trees planted on the map today. All done. There might be some coming in, but for the most part, I'm going to give you a tour. I'm starting actually up in the very northeast corner of the map, and we're just going to drive around and you'll see what a difference a million trees make. I've moved on to start marking some fields, and that is one of the things that we'll be doing after we get through. But you could take a look around here. Let me close this little box right there. There are tons of trees. Let's bring up the frame meter as well, so we can I haven't tested with all these trees on it yet, but if we're, with the amount of trees we have on here, if we're holding steady at 60 frames, 50, even if we were down to 55 or so here or there, it's pretty good, because there are tons of trees, as you guys could see. The map looks entirely different today. Meesman1982, thank you for the host as well. So we're going to just drive around a little bit, show you how it's filled in nicely. You'll get dips when all the trees have to load in certain areas, but for the most part it's not bad at all. And this is that one mountain that I put in, which has probably one of the heaviest forested areas on the map up here on this hill. As we climb up it, the trees are much denser up here, and we might be able to do something, put something up here eventually, because I left a lot of room, but we'll see what happens. So you've got this little hill area overlooking, and I ran out of road. Yay. No, but you can see all the trees that are, how it's just filled in down below. Tons and tons on this map. You shouldn't have to run out. There are some forest areas that are designated forest areas, but some of those trees might come out as we start adding factories and stuff to the map once we get an idea of what we'll be able to do. So we'll just drive you around and show you. It pretty much looks quite different today with all the extra trees that are on the map. I don't even want to count to know how many of these suckers I planted, but it took a long time. Yeah, it could be a good place for a popcorn Sutton type thing up there. You're absolutely right. There is definitely plenty of room on the sides of these roads to take out some trees and build in some buildings as we go through. But the map itself, with all this extra stuff, a little bit of a dip there in the frames. But I am streaming and everything else as well, so there will be areas that it gets a little bit lower, but there's just a massive amount of them. There's a lot of little detail items that still have to come into these areas, rocks and different things, wherever I see fit. We'll go through later on. After we get this up on our server, I'll be going through and doing a detail round and getting all the, light posts and everything else built into the map. And just monitoring the frames, the ramps that go across the railroad tracks, like right here. There will be a ramp coming over across, so all that stuff is yet to come to add to the scenery a little bit more, as well as the additional cell points and all the workings of the map still have to come in. But definitely a very, very wooded map. Now over here we have the whole city that has to be built up, which that will be down the road. We may bring some of the factories and stuff in as we're building everything in here and start bringing those sell points and factories into this area where they will fit, and then we're just going to go from there. There's still a lot to do. I see I need to fix a tree that is floating. I know there's going to be more than one, but it's right at, I'm just going to make a note that it's right at the end of this corner here. You see that one right up there in the distance in the middle? It's a floater. Yep, so I gotta take that one out. That's very easy to do when you're planting thousands of trees in a map. You get a couple of them here or there clicked on top of the other, and you just don't know it until you get inside and drive around a little bit. We've got the museum over there. Needs to be updated. But you can see there's definitely going to be some field areas where it's open. I didn't plant any trees into this area yet because I got to see where the buildings are going to go and everything. Yeah, I know. Everybody wants it out, but it's nowhere near complete. But we're working as fast as we can. It's kind of tough this time of year too because there's holiday stuff going on, and like I said, if you weren't here on Monday, Friday I won't be. I don't know if I'll be doing the show or not. It all depends what's going on, but it definitely will not be at 9 o'clock. If I can get back early enough from the Christmas parties, then I might come on a little bit later if I'm still up to it and not totally out of it. But if not, we'll be back on Monday for sure. Wolfie7009. Thank you so much, my friend. You are so awesome for the $100 donation. Love it. That is awesome. You guys are amazing. You never cease to amaze me. Thank you so much. I wish I could do something more than say thank you for you guys. I mean, wow. Anyhow, yeah, you can ask a question about the rivers map if you have a question. I don't know if I can give you the answer. It's been so long since I've been on it, but we can always try, and there might be somebody out there, so the map will be done next Friday. No, it won't. But we'll keep in touch. I'm thinking of, we'll have to see the way things go. There's a lot to be done, a lot, but you can see that a lot has been done. It's moving in the right direction. I'm glad you could be here, Trauma Junkie 169 as well. Yeah, we can always answer River's questions if you've got them or any of those things, but it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know if I can remember, but there's always people here that might know. I'm just taking a look around, make sure I don't have any floating trees. There are some fields that are left in. I have to do the swamp before it goes up on the server, so I need to add some silt texture, so we have some silt to dig out and some dead trees to put in the swamp that's over here, which we've shown you, but it's kind of a little bit more hidden right now. And where are we? We're about halfway around the map right now, but you're not seeing it all. We're kind of taking the main roads. You don't see really everything that's beyond the walls. It's kind of hard to show everything, so keep coming back and you'll see a little more, maybe something that you haven't seen before. But I think overall we've given you a pretty good look at how it's turning out. And over here we have some fields for one of the farms up here. But definitely today is, and I got to put in some road blockers on the end, some of those fake tunnels on the ends of the where the roads run off the map. Definitely a lot more wooded now though, and the farms are kind of tucked down in. I really am liking the layout this time. Definitely going to be something different, but you also have the ability to cut down trees and open up your own fields as well. If you didn't want to use just the purchase fields, you can clear areas. You can build your own roads in some sections, so it's going to be pretty awesome. very soon I'll be looking into. The show's going to be a little bit different. You've seen the boring stuff. Now the interesting stuff is coming very soon. I mean, I like to do the landscape primarily myself because it does make the map, you got to build upon that. But now as well, once we get past marking these fields tonight, we'll be getting into just adding the pieces, and I may do several of them, but if I do them when I'm not here, I'll cover how it's done in the episode coming up after that, or after I've done them, just to make sure you guys know how to do them. But the sawmills will have to come in, the areas, factories, anything that we have that's available at the time we'll bring in as well. Hopefully we'll be able to eventually bust through this 64 fill type limit because there's so much left to do with fill types. Is there a reassignment to the slash key for another key? Holy mackerel. I don't know if you can reassign that without going into the Lua file, or... That's a good question. I don't think there is. The slash key, I don't know if anybody knows. I do not know for sure. You're just getting your DadgeNet fix. Yep. So we've definitely got lots of area, lots of fields. I don't even know the final count where it stands right now on fields, but we should know. Hopefully we'll get through quite a few of them tonight and get a better idea because they're starting to be marked. And we've got to build up a nice truck stop over here in this area as well. That'll be coming in. Some areas of the map, the trees are, I want to have some open fields. Hopefully we'll be able to eventually get some alfalfa and clover fields planted in here that will make the map look different in these areas that are wide open. But there are definitely enough trees around the map that you won't have to worry about running out for a little while. I'm just going to weave around the roads. You got to put popcorn Sutton fabric to this map. One of your friends is extremely passionate to it. We will get... I'm pretty sure we're going to be... Just because the map itself is going to be different, and I want to make the factories work a little bit differently, but finding models for that stuff, there's not going to be a lot to do. We got to see what we get for fill types. That's the biggest issue right now. So there will be different factories and stuff based on the fill types that we already have. We have mustard and lavender and peanuts this time, a few different things, but hopefully we'll be able to get the fruit types that we had back as well, and maybe a few more additional ones. That's one of the things that I should have the answer to relatively soon, within the next week or two, because we'll be getting into checking out the UPK and seeing that gives us the ability to add some stuff and all that fun stuff. Hey, Bravo Chick, Farmer 75. Let's see, Farmer at 75. Let's see, Swimpy01. Another question about rivers. You get 3 start fields, and I plowed bits to make one big field. Yeah, I don't know why with PV Rivers Courseplay would not pick up because there's nothing really different about the fields once they're plowed together. They should be doing the same thing as PV17 V2. I'm trying to think if there's anything. There's probably something you could do there, Swimpy01. I just am not sure where it registers that key as the key binding to do it. It's probably in one of the scripts of the Lua file itself or in the mod description file for the map. I'd have to go back and look at it, and we can do that. Take a quick look. I'm not going to spend all night trying to figure it out, but if we find something really quick, then I can show you, and we'll go from there. Is the 17 map going to be multiple farm setup? It is going to be multiple farms. There are going to be 6 farms. 4 on the outside where the cows are has been, this is one of the farms right here. Where the cows are is been turned into a farm on the Goldcrest Valley of its own, and the original farm. We've been discussing how to play the map here as well on our server, and I think we've come to a pretty good conclusion that we're just going to assign people to the new farms on the outer edge of the map, individual people depending on how many people we have playing, and then use the Goldcrest, old Goldcrest areas like common area that anybody can work those fields. And it seems like for us it should work out pretty well. So I don't even know where I am on this map. I think I started, yeah, I think we've gone all the way around. Oh, we're going almost there. But you can see some open fields, a lot of grass, but every farm also has its own silage pits, and most of them have BGA. Every farm on this map is going to have something a little bit different than another one, whether storage capacity is a little higher. One of them has 2 silage bunkers. The rest of them out here have 1. There's another farm up here somewhere. And some have the hayloft barn where you can sell off hay and straw. Others do not. So just mixing it up so that you're kind of reliant on the other farms for something, but can do most of the stuff yourself if you decide to play individual farms. So, for instance, most of the farms will be able to make their own fuel. Once we get that fabric script in here, we're going to set up the fuel making right at the BGAs that are built in. And then, but there are a couple of them that will not have that capability, that will have to rely on one of the fuel making ones, but they'll have something else in that one or two of the other farms won't have as well. So this one here, for instance, does have, and some of them may have a higher capacity on their silos than other ones. So this one here is definitely going to have a fuel and a sell-off BGA. It has 1 bunker to its own right here, but you have 2 of these little bins, Silo King things here to dump into. This one is just like any other BGA. You'll be able to sell product, and they're all individual too, so if one of them has a capacity that, or a price that's really low and somebody else's farm has it high, you might want to go over there to sell your stuff or wait till your price rebounds. But some of the farms will have this secondary one, and what this one's going to do is turn the silage into biogas, and we'll have a gas tank added in where you can, close by, where you will be able to just drop it in there, convert to fuel, and then refuel your vehicles right at that point. So not all the farms will have that. If they want, they'll have the ones that don't will have a fuel tank, but they won't have the ability. Somebody will have to truck it over there to fill it. That's a possibility. A keyboard to plug into one of the USB ports would be a good way. I will check it out soon. I don't know if I can do anything about it, but we will take a look. So here we are back at the beginning, and I do have to work on the distance textures for most of the crops, but I did mark a few more fields. So we've got to go around. I did 3 or 4 today. You can see some of the new crops growing on the fields. Distance textures, like I said, don't match yet. They are completely out of whack, but we'll work on those and get them so they look correctly as they're drawing in. So that was a trip around the outside. Of course, the whole inside is just like it was, with a few minor changes. And we've got some work to do. But on the same hand, you will be able to see that each of these fields that has missions will give you the equipment for the mission, so you can do the missions on all the with the new crops and everything, which is kind of cool. We'll do a little quick. Might not be easy, my placement on these things, but you know, we're getting closer. Let's hook that header up and do a little bit of this one. We'll just do a little. Yeah, you need the slash key to start production on all the fuels. If you're not getting the slash key, you're missing a huge menu that turns on everything. Without it, you couldn't play that map. So you can see we're harvesting, and you can see the grain going in the header. So this is the millet. And everything's looking pretty good, working good. And that's a pretty big field to have a mission that lasts 45 minutes-ish. So you got some pretty, and that's not even the biggest. That one there for this farm, I think, is the biggest one right behind us. So let's get in there and do some setup and answer some questions. First, we'll answer the questions. We'll see what we can answer. And the first one was how to change a name of one of your cell points. Let me wait till this clears up, and we'll open up the map I'm working on. Now, you can't do this. You got to do it on a map that has, you know, it's a modded map, because you need to use the modded files. In your modded files under the map folder, you will have the map01 XML file, which you can edit with your Notepad++. And everything in here, including the cell points, has its section, and it's labeled as well. Yours will not look the same as this, but you can see that these are silos. In green it says silo. These are the BGAs. Most of them only have one bunker. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. But down here you have your cell points. Right here. The index stays the same, but right here there is a station name, and just change it to whatever name you want. The ones that say station underscore town bakery are the ones that, and then they have the GCV. Those are in-game names. If you're going to rename it, leave out all that and just give it the name that you want it to have, and it will come up properly. Any of the items on the map, just change it to whatever you want. So this one here has station barn for the barns, but I have mine labeled as barn, currently as barn 2, barn 3, and barn 4 for the additional barns that are on the map. And that's exactly how they display on the map. So that is that one. Let's take a look at the rivers map. That's a little bit more confusing. Like I said, I'm not going to spend a million years on it here, but we can at least take a quick look and see if I can find anything on the slash key dilemma. So, PV Rivers. First place I would look is in the mod description file, where several key commands are input bindings. We have to scroll down through. We have our text. Then you're going to get to a section after the extra source files. You're going to get to a section that's input bindings, and we're just going to look. Actually, there's move man, ladder, switch door state. No input bindings in here. which means that it has to be in a script itself. Unfortunately, that's the hardest thing to do because there's only like a million scripts in the PV Rivers map. Let's see. Scripts. They are all through here. My first guess would be, actually there's XML file too. Let's check the Economica XML and see what that is in that. Nope, that doesn't have it. I didn't think so. The Economica Lua, that I think is what, it's been so long. We need to find something that has that key command in it. I have no, I'm not a script writer, but I know that they are in, has to be in one of them somewhere. I don't know where. Usually they're near the bottom, but I'm trying to think of what it's called. Let me just type in the word key and see if I can find anything. Not there, not there, not there. Contract keys. Great demand. There's so many things. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, let's go back down. There was a key event. No, I'm not sure. But somewhere in one of these and it could not. It might not even be in this one. There will be the binding to the slash key, and it need you. If you can find it in one of these Lua scripts, you'll have to change it. It has to be in there somewhere. I'm just going to go through the whole file here. And see what we have. It could be in any of them, but it's not in that one. That's the problem with this. The Economica base, maybe it's the base Lua file. We'll take a look in that one for the word key, and it is not in there, so I don't know, but that's the only way. But yeah, the only thing I could tell you is you're gonna either have to find it yourself in here, in one of these files, because I'm not gonna spend my whole time on this, or get a, like someone said, a keyboard or something for your USB port. But you definitely, for Rivers Map, need a slash key, or you're gonna be stuck. So let's get back into the map. And let's see if there's any other questions. Nope, Wolfie7009 is someone else. All right. S7 Davis is in the house. Castor, I heard that. I didn't look at it. We're going to be getting, that's the fun stuff we're going to be getting into real soon, the Compost Master and all that stuff. So where I left off was I did field 36, and I'm just trying to get around the map with the fields in the order that they are. So the basic map had 31 fields, and we did 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Those are already marked, everything on the inside, but I'm going to go over here and give this one a 37. So basically I'm going to take my field 36 and I'm going to make sure I have it highlighted and then duplicate that. We have two 36s now. We're going to change the second one to 37. And we have to grab the field by trigger. Now the field by trigger, if everybody remembers from earlier episodes, if you weren't here, we'll show you. You need to have near where the field mission is going to start. So with field 37 right in front of me, we have to make, if some of them I did put in, some I didn't, but if I don't have them, I need to have a spot which I'll make for starting the missions. So I'm just going to draw in some dirt here for where the field is bought and where a mission would be started. And then we'll get rid of the grass over the top of it so you guys actually can see it. Alright, now that we have that cleared out, we'll take that by trigger and we're going to just bring it and put it, I'm going to put it right in the middle. I've been putting them in the middle. It's been working out good. Control B, click the left mouse button, and we have the field by trigger. Next thing, you need to know which way is north on your map. I know that way is north on my map, so the way the vehicles spawn in is the way this by trigger is facing. We figured that out live here, but now that it's understandable, I can give you an idea. So north is at 0. We're looking at 0. That's the direction we want to have the vehicles spawn in. So what you're going to do on the field by trigger, on the y-axis, make sure it's set to 0. And that will make sure when you do a mission, the vehicles spawn in the direction that you're facing. If it was a field that was facing this direction, you'd want to do 90, 180 in that direction, and either 270 or minus 90. Guess it doesn't make a difference. Next part for the square fields is pretty easy. Field dimensions, grab your corner 1. And again, looking north is important for setting these up, because your bottom left hand corner when you're looking north is your corner 1 on these fields. So we'll bring that transform corner 1 if it's getting to the point where these things are just, you move around, it unhighlights it and it doesn't work. So I gotta grab it again here, make sure it's lit up. You can see it's already slowing down doing these field dimensions. It doesn't like it, but that's what a million trees will do. Alright, so highlighted, we bring our corner 1 in. Now it'll work. Which is your, when you're facing north, your bottom left hand corner of the field. Corner 2 will go up to the top left hand corner, which is already heading in that direction, but we're just going to bring that point and put it right here. Now, not quite a million, but there's definitely thousands and thousands of trees in this thing. And then corner 1, 3, so you're doing it in L shape. Corner 3 on, and this is for square fields. Believe me, when we get into the fancy shaped ones, I'm going to have to do some learning because I never do them. But there isn't a lot. There's only a couple of them on this map. So corner 3 would be here. And with those 3 corners, it can figure out where the fourth corner is. Next, and this is important because I learned the wrong lesson earlier. Field 37, you can assign a field farmer to the field, and it does have some interesting extra things. The field area, do not worry about. There's a script after we do some, we'll run it. But the NPC index, if you come in and your missions don't work and basically lock up, then you have an NPC index that's invalid. And I guess 18 might be the highest one you can use because I tried 21 and it crashed. 18 is for the Evans farm. So the farm we're making right now is going to be the Evans farm, and every one of these will be Evans. I do have actually some of the other ones. I tried 21 because I thought it was the Johnson farm, which was my last name, but actually now that I look at my list, Field 21 is owned by Johnson, so I got to go there to find out the Johnson index number later on when I do one of the other farms. So once you have all your field dimensions down, just take your field map indicator, which is in the same field, where's the Brooks mod? Not here. But once you have your field map indicator, I just kind of eyeball it, center of the field, get up high, and just plop that right in the middle. And that's where the map indicator will appear on your field on the map, right over the center of the field when you're looking on the mini-map, once we make the mini-map. So that's pretty much all there is for setting up a field, and I got to repeat it another 40 times or so. So got to do the same process. Highlight the field 37, and for some reason it has to be blue sometimes for me. Just click on it again if you can't do the duplicate. Wait till it pops up there, rename that one to 38, and repeat. And just kind of try to keep your, well, it's kind of nice if you can keep your fields grouped together for the farms that you have. So I'll open up field 38 now and repeat the process. Bring over the field by trigger. Probably would have been easier to do this before I planted 10 million trees, because now I'm up to 10 million trees. No, before I planted those thousands of trees, because they slow down selection a little bit. So we're going to bring the field by trigger for this one right over here. And then grab our field dimensions for corner 1. See, now if I select corner 1, it'll highlight it somewhere on the map here in a minute. Gotta wait, not responding. Oh, he's not responding. And it's up where the last field was, but we gotta bring it onto this corner. So just get in close enough and just put it right at the corner, and you'll be good to go. Bottom left hand corner for corner 1. Corner 2. Once you do one field, they're in the right direction, so it's not hard to remember that corner 2 is definitely going to be straight up from corner 1, because it's off the transform group of corner 1. So actually I'll call it corner 1/2. So it's up this direction. We just need to put it in the proper place, and that is up here. And again, corner 3 is going to be off to my right. What's going to be cool is actually driving around the map and seeing all the crops on the field for a change. See how it runs when we get them all in there as well. But we're going to finish up this farm and then we'll go in and check it and make sure that all our missions are working and everything. And then we just got to grab the field map indicator for this one as well, which is right here. You got me curious now, just how many trees are there on this map? Let me check. I'm going to do just a quick count of the groups that I added, which is nothing that's on the... Oh, sometimes that does that. My corner didn't grab... Or not my map indicator. If I move the mouse, it's all screwy, this editor. Plant trees last. It goes a little faster doing this. I don't know if it was the trees. Some things go much faster. Trees planting was fast, but definitely marking the fields takes a little bit. Just one moment. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, but I am back. Alright, so did we get the field map indicator? I'm talking to people here and come on, come on. I think it might be there, but it's so hard to tell. Let's see. I might have hit the wrong button. Come on, give me a little point in the middle of the field. You can do it. See how it's like, there it is. All right, make sure you get that in there. So we've got all of them labeled up here. Next one would be this one. I'm just taking a look. I think I'll go back, forth, and then grab that one. All right. You can pre-order cattle and crops for sure. They've had a Kickstarter quite a while ago. And I've got mine coming March. Early access. So let me finish. Actually, we're up to field 39. We'll do a handful of them, then we'll jump in and see what we've got going on. It's easier to check them like every so often because if you do have an issue trying to troubleshoot which field it is in like I had earlier, isn't always easy if you do too many. So I keep jumping in and testing them out and go right around the map. Fortunately, I don't know how many issues I'll run into now that I know that you can't put an NPC index that's too high in the map or it'll lock up everything when you go to buy the field or to do a mission on it. Field trigger done. And they're all in the same direction, so I haven't had to do a rotating that much yet. And over to the bottom left corner with corner 1. Oh yeah, let me finish this one up. Finish this field up, then yeah, we'll see if we can count how many trees I put in. Hey Manu 199726, how you doing? Put corner 2. And previously I used to put the corners outside the field a little bit. You know, I'd put them out here and it wouldn't matter. But now with the missions, you want to kind of get as close to on the corner as possible. So when the missions draw in, the crops draw in for the missions, it actually comes out to the edge of the field and not out past the edge of the field, but also not way inside the field either. So marking the corners pretty close is much more important this time around than it was last year or 2015 version. And with that one in place, we will back out a little bit and get the field map indicator. And drop that field map indicator. Didn't want to come with me. Come on, you can do it. You don't need a good blank map to start off with. All you need to do is go to my making a starter map video. Make one yourself from Goldcrest or Sosnovka. Then you can do as I did. Alright, so that is field number 39. I'm going to do a little quick tree count. There are some trees in the middle. And the way I can do it is if I highlight a tree group like this one and open it up. Oh, look at all these groups. These are the ones I'm not going to count because these are actually not in the groups, but whoa, look at all that. Maybe I am going to do them. Look at all those trees that are highlighted. But if you go into each of these groups, oh my gosh. And if you highlight the last one, that group right there has, I can tell by the index number. That one has 577 trees. So I'm not even counting these groups because those are most of the starting groups. But I made the few that I did yesterday, like this group here. I'm trying to find the top of it. Actually, I just need the bottom of it. This group here has 1,213 trees in it alone, and that is to right there. This one here has a total of 4,824. So that's what, about 6,000 so far with just those two groups, all the way up to that one. And then the Spruce Stage 3 group has another 1,199, so we'll call it 7,200-ish. And this one here has in it, it's another group, Spruce Stage 3. So we're 7,200. Yeah, you could do that. Another 2,644. So 7, 8, 9. There's 10,000 or 9,800 through that group. The problem is that it's labeled spruce stage 3, you'd still have to search for each one. I'm just getting a rough guess here. Rough guess. And then we have this tree group here that I didn't add in. So what are we? 9,200 plus... Oh wait. I do have that one. It's so hard to tell. There's so many of them in here. So 9,200, but there's also all the center trees as well. So I added close to 10,000, but that's not including the trees that are off the original groups, which are up here. All these other groups. So my guess is there's 15 to 20,000 trees on the map right now, which should keep you guys busy for a little bit. So let's get back to fields. We've got... Close some of these down. Actually, sometimes it actually helps too. Let me do this. 36, 37, 38. If you go down to the bottom where all those tree groups are opened up and you close them, it might actually make the menus work a little faster because it doesn't have to read all of these trees in. If I can get there and close that group up and that group up, in that group. So yeah, there's definitely a bunch of tree groups. There's another one that's wide open. And another one. Here, let's just close that whole tree group. Alright. Onward. Field 39. Which one was that? Anybody remember? Funny, Weldart. Very funny. That is a little extra wood on the map today. Alright, where was I? You guys drive me nuts. We are near... We're working on this side over here. I think, right? Is that where we... No, that's that side. Yeah, we were over here. I'm lost as to which way is north. City is... I'm thinking... What side are we on? We're on the side with... Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a complete blank here? I can't see the marker. Here, I'm going to grab the field marker. Then I can see where it is. Field by trigger. Lost on... Oh, it's not... It's not hard to do. It's so darn big and... Very easy to get lost on my own map. But once I grab this, I can find out where field 39 was. Just by looking out in the right there it is. Alright. So that was 39. This one here is going to be field 40. Then that one will 41, 42, and 43. We'll get those done, then we'll go check them out and see how it goes. So this is field 40. Let's make a field 40. Oh, 16x map. I couldn't imagine. If I ever did a 16x, I'd be taking this 4x and dropping it into the center of that one and just opening up areas a little bit at a time. Because starting one from scratch, not quite gonna happen. Duplicate field 39. Rename it to field 40. I wonder, I never did that test, but I wonder if I renamed it to like, Well, it puts the 40. It must know. It must need to have that naming convention in it, or it would be screwed up. You know, unless you put field hello, maybe it would show hello on the field instead. Have we ever tested anything like that? No. Should we? Probably be funny. What do you think? Should we just give our last field a quick name instead of a number and see if it appears on the map? And still works? That's how you experiment. So field by trigger is actually in the opposite direction on this one. We have to put it up there. You see the little area up there. So we're going to zip over here. And because of that, we have to do a little bit different. Sure, give it a try. I'm all game for that. We'll name the last field a name, and if it crashes the whole system, we'll see. I just want to see what happens. That's what we do. Field by trigger is there. Now, remember, it's facing the exact opposite direction. So we're going to take our field by trigger and turn it to 180 degrees because we want to be facing this direction for the mission. So that part gets switched a complete 180 degrees, but your field markers still have to go in the same direction as all the other fields. Yeah, stick it in the middle of a... That would be the easiest thing, but if you take 4 different maps and splice them together for a 16x map, you still have a ton of work to do. Just because you're really only splicing in the landscape and the objects, and then some objects can't be duplicated, and depending on the maps, that could be really hard to do. You have multiple cow zones, and you can only have one, multiple animal zones, you can only have one of each, so you gotta fix all the navigation, erase navigation meshes you don't want. And you're left with so much extra work from the stuff that you don't want duplicated that you're probably better off, like I said, take this the way we did with Goldcrest, dropping Goldcrest into the center of the 4x map, grab this map, upscale the files, and drop this whole map in the center of a 16x map, and then you have continue on from there. Which, you never know, down the road, could be done. Hey, KW, how's it going tonight? And Buddha 187. BGA in the middle and rest planted in corn. You can do it, not me. I refuse to do a map that has one BGA and it's all corn, one field wrapped right around it. That would be, well, that'd have to be the most boring thing to do. Sit there and well, you could do it while you're sleeping. I guess that's a plus. So corners are marked. Field map indicator needs to be dropped in to the middle of this field. We'll get it highlighted for sure. Most things don't take this long. I think it's just something with the field calculations that it's doing. That it could be the 20,000 trees on the map, but they have to go in at this stage or I get lost, you know? Alright, so back over to this one. Where is our spot for starting? It doesn't appear to have one currently, so let's put it right here. It's the easy direction to do it. And with that done, we create field 41. PV17 version 2. Nah, it'd probably have to be like version 4, most likely, if it goes that way. You never know. I can tell you this, when this one's done, gonna take a short recess because don't want to burn myself out, but it all depends. This one's got a long way to go. And it also depends on when things arrive that we can add in. Field 41. Field by trigger. I'll make the 16x map if S7 does the PDF file. Let's see how that goes over. Come on, field by trigger. You can do it. Waiting, waiting. The slow and painful part of map making. Waiting. The more and more stuff you get in it, the more waiting becomes. Field by trigger, face it north, which means to... Well, it already is. Did the other one? Did I spin it around? It should have been 180 Y on this one here. Why is it not on the other one if I just duplicated it? No, that one's 180 on the Y. This one? Hey, Bad Touch, how's it going? Did you, yeah, did you start on field status? Is it well, field status would be cool, but I haven't even figured out how to get past so many field types or fruit types on the map yet. Interesting that the rotation on this one that I copied has there. It should be at 0. And field dimensions. Good old field status. We're waiting for that 17 version. Yeah, there's several things that are just everybody's still trying to figure out with this crazy edition, but when they get figured out, usually they seem a little bit more flexible. It's just the learning curve. They don't give you enough info. I haven't been out there to see if anybody's figured out why more than 64 field type crashes when it's supposed to support 256, but that is the biggest thing. There's so many fruit types that I want to add in and field types, but we're already at the limit with just a few. So we can't even have have one factory in here right now. We don't have the capability to add the product that it makes. So for the initial server, once we get this up, it's pretty much a few more things that you can sell off. Hopefully we can overcome that real soon. Like before I get all this other stuff finished up. If we come to a standstill, then you'll get an early release is what I while we wait for more things to be putting in. Apple orchards. There's so many things I'd love to do. Our orchards shall come back in one form or another if we ever get there. I say if. Waiting on them scripts to be working correctly. But the fill types is the biggest thing right now. And my guess is it will come before you know it, because they usually do. So this one here needs to be marked in the middle. Field 41 is done. Now we need to find out the next one. That's one way to look at it, Badzilla. I think that they don't release the info before and make us figure it out, so they keep interest in the game longer so they can work on the next version. That's my theory. If they gave you all the information right at the start, all the good mods would be done already, and everybody would have played this already and moved on to another game. And they're still working on their DLCs. I feel the need. Did I miss the sneeze button? Yeah, I did. I couldn't get it fast enough. Sorry about that. Oh, man. I missed my sneeze button. I couldn't get over there. Alright, so did we mark that field yet? Is that one marked? That one is. So we just got to do these last two. That one here will be the next one. I tried to hit that sneeze button, I'm telling you. Just missed it. Your ears are bleeding. All right. I lost where I was. Field 42 is this one. Field by trigger. I tried to stop. I just couldn't find. I clicked. I missed it. All right. So field by trigger for 42 is gonna go right over here. And we need to rotate that. We're looking at 0. We have to rotate it to 90 degrees so it's facing the right way. And then add our dimensions in. That pops some ears out there. There will be a yeah, there will be a FS17 version of field status. That's the way I feel with the maps, you know. I will say this, I remember when 15 first came out that it was just as discouraging as when this one first came out, so I didn't quite get as discouraged this time around because there's just that learning curve has to take place every time a new one comes out, and it just takes a little while. I have not given up faith, and the pieces are coming out faster than I can put this together, so we're looking good. There's still so much more to do that I can do right now. Yeah, we're limited on crops and can't quite get to, but there's still a ton of stuff that has to be done, and it's been getting here before I have needed it. So that's a good sign. If I catch up and we're still waiting for something to break, like the 64 fill type limit, then you guys get an early release and have a something to play on while we're waiting. That's all there is to it. So, as far as testing for the map, I have a lot of people asking if they need that, if they can be testers and stuff like that as well. And at this point, we have a pretty large crew back. We always go keep it in-house. No offense to anybody, but we like to keep it just on our server with the group of guys that have been here forever, and the ones that have sort of been part of our team in the past have always been welcome to come back and give it a try if we have the space for them. And we have a long list of people already waiting as it is that have been here before even. So we shall see, but they'll all be testing it very soon. And it's just a process that we really cannot put out the map to other groups to test because it's being changed on a daily basis, and some of it has to be in the save game code and stuff to be fixed. And if it's anything like last year, sometimes to keep a single save game going, sometimes it took me a couple hours to get that save game file updated so that the current games that were active, or the current game on our server that was active, would be able to be continued on. So it's almost impossible to have multiple groups, and we just have the one server we run it on because of the amount of changes. Even the guys here that are on our server, most of them have realized that you can't even start their own single player games because I don't have the time to correct everybody's single player games. And go through. I'd literally probably be the only one that could do it to get the indexes to be at the right place, and it's a process. So most of the time they don't even bother starting single player games to test unless they know it's complete enough where they will continue on even without the future updates. And I just clicked on a water plane instead of my field by trigger. That's what I need here. Not that one. Don't do that. Don't move things that you don't want to move. I do that too. And usually if we do get to the point where we need new testers, we usually go by some sort of process to bring them in. No offense to anybody, but we don't just let anybody in here. Sometimes you would think we do. But it really goes by how, a lot of it is how active and supportive and different things that people have done in the past, or who knows what at the time. And a lot of it has to do with attitude. We judge you by your attitude. I'm sorry to say, but we are judgmental people over here. No, it's fun here. We want to keep it fun. If there's someone that tends to be a little bit on the confrontational side or opinionated side, I mean, we love opinions, but when it all comes down to it, things just have to keep moving on, and we discuss things, and then if I decide it has to be this way for one reason or another, that's the way it's going to have to be. But you know, some people are just so adamant that they get upset that something's not being done, and for one reason or another I had chosen not to do it, and it just causes confrontation, and I don't deal with that. I can't. It's as soon as it becomes a something that I don't want to log into the server because I don't want to have to. Oops, I'm actually marking the wrong corner of the field here. That's how passionate I am. No, but if it comes to the point where someone is just makes my day miserable for coming in, you know, and it's not fun anymore. So I try to be as nice a person as possible. It's hard for me not to be nice. It's easier for me to just avoid them. No, but we've had, and I definitely, it's not always a anything wrong with the person. I can honestly say that Get Her Done, who had passed away, was a great guy, very supportive of my work, but he was so passionate about it that he was one of those people that had to, you know, make sure his ideas were heard. And if he was something, he was just one of those guys that day after day we try to let things go. He couldn't let them go. I don't fault him for it. Love the man. I hate, we're going to recognize him in the museum this year with his own room. But when he was here, it was just not a good fit. Him and I had our arguments, and he left, and we still talked after that, but we just realized that he was just not a good fit for the group because he was passionate about getting things done. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that we were at each other a lot more than was actually healthy for either of us. So that happens from time to time. And it's hard too. The bigger the group gets, everybody has their own personalities. And even if I get along with everybody, if two people in the group clash and they don't get along for one reason or another, it tends to make the whole group kind of not feel like it's fun anymore. And there's nothing worse than I have is bringing a new guy in and having 3 other guys leave. So we do kind of keep it pretty strict and keep it fun. Keep it fun. Put in the hours of testing and just chat about what's coming next, and inventive, keep it inventive. I'd like to have everybody's opinions and ideas. So that's the way it will probably always be. So we are at 90 degrees. We have 43 fields. I have to test now. That is probably that farm. Yeah, there's no more fields for that farm. Then we can move on to this crazy farm over here. Let me save this up and we'll jump in the map and take a look and test from field 37 through 43. '37 to 43. And we'll check it out and see how they look. It's interesting to me to see, because I don't know if you guys realize it, but when you start a new game, your fields have a certain crop from the missions on that field, and it pretty much is at the very start of a new game the same crop every time you start a new save game. It could be in different growth stages, but it's often the same crop type. So if it's corn on that field, every save game you start, it'll be corn. Now I get to see what crop types are going to be on all these new fields. I don't know how it does it, if it just goes in order, but we shall see. Might go right through the list and loop back around. Let's check it out and see how those fields are coming along. As long as basically I just jump in and I try to run a mission on each of the fields just to make sure the equipment's popping in a good place, and then jump out, and that everything. So every field should still be owned by the Evans family because this will be the Evans farm. That's how I'm going to name them. So you will be able to know if you're playing different people on your map that if they come up to a field to purchase and it is not the farm owned by the farm name that they're running, it won't be their field. So we'll go over here. I have to go from 36 was done. We will go up to 37 and check out field 37. And if all is well, we should get... Alright, we are completely backwards on field 37. So we got to spin that marker around. Let's check some of the other ones. I could be totally out of whack. 37 needs to be spun around. Let's go to 38. Oh wait, gotta wait for the timer to expire. Because it's going to just pop you right back over to that field. Watch me have every single one of them backwards for some reason. 38. Completely backwards on 38 as well. Cool. We have a couple things to check. Why? The blue arrow faces the field. That could be what I got to do. I thought I had them all right. I mean, 36, and I must have got a little mixed up there. All right, let me just check the rest. 39 is right over here. Lars Monson, $100 donation. Thank you very, very much. You are incredible. Unreal. I think that, wow. At least the right person's on all these fields. 39. Alright, so I got them all backwards completely. Thank you so much, Lars. I really, really appreciate it. You are awesome. You know, you guys are making this just amazing this year. You don't know really what a difference it's making, especially this holiday season. I finally get my kids some... I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but my daughter came out. I don't get enough time with my kids. That's one thing that... But without being employed and everything that's going on, it's been really tough in the beginning. But since you guys have been coming in here with your donations, I've been able to do so much more with my kids and everything. When my daughter came out, I actually got to take her out and not just sit around the house, and that means the world to me. And now I'm very conservative with what money. I don't have to spend a lot on extra things. I put it back into this project, or I literally, you know, other than some soda or whatever to keep me going. Let me jump in to field 40. I bet you they're all backwards, which wouldn't surprise me. Oh, we gotta go. But yeah, it's been huge, and now to be able to this year for the first time in like 4 years be able to pick up some Christmas presents for my two daughters, it's gonna be amazing. You don't know what that means to me. So I really, really appreciate it. 40. I can't even think straight when they say Is every one of these going to be backwards? Probably. I don't know where I got messed up. I'm going to have to go back. Yeah, they're all backwards. Let me go back to 36 just to make sure I didn't mess up something with the early fields. 36 is right here. Oh, we're going to have to come back to 36. Yeah, good one. It's simple. Can't get unemployment. I've been out of work for too long, and I still have not gotten disability for my spinal disease. And I don't claim this. Sorry, but actually, let's put it this way. It isn't that much that I that I would actually have to pay taxes anyway, you know? Few thousand, it's a lot to me, but it's well below poverty level and I wouldn't have to pay anything. So, yeah, these fields are okay. I got to go back in and find out what I did, why all the other ones are all wacko. But let's check that out and get back in here for testing. Yep. We have the FS, oh, his FS17. Yeah, I'm thinking PV17. Wow. The blue arrow is the direction the vehicle spawns in. See, I'm learning from you guys. Well, then why the heck is it not spawning in properly on that field? Because the blue arrow is supposed to be pointing toward it, but they're not. Let me go back up to where we started, 37. 37. Huh. Good luck with that. They're live with Rusty. Alright, field by trigger for 37. First thing is, knowing which way is north always helps. So north is that way. Alright, well this one definitely needs to be spun around. We know that, so that's good. Point it toward the field, that makes sense. 38. I'm sorry to hear that you lost your job, though. This is the absolute worst time of the year to lose a job. It happened to a friend of mine last year, and I just know, I mean, it's tough because this time of year is when, you know, with the holidays and everything, when you really need it the most. But it seems to happen to a lot of people this time of year. So yeah, I guess we'll point these arrows to the field. Get them done. See what happens. Hospital appointment for Deaf Gamer. We'll be thinking of him. We'll be thinking of you, Deaf Gamer. Yeah, they were all backwards, that's for sure. So 180 degrees on this sucker. And 40. Two Cat 5954. How's it going tonight? Also gotta say hello to Walsh223 if you're out there, and Buddha for your new follows, Buddha187. And CES973, thank you for the follow as well. As we figure, alright, so good thing to know is the blue arrow has to point to the field, and that's the direction. Thank you, Bonger, for the tip, Bonger76. It seems to be the case everywhere I go. 41, 2, and 3. Then we'll get back in, just make sure everything spawns in okay before we go on to the next farm. Yeah, they're all backwards. That is for sure. So rotate your y-axis to the direction it is. Now, why is it that I thought the other ones were different? I have no idea. I tested them all. I must have had been spun around or something. I don't know. Oh, that is tough. Yep. That one, 43 was okay. Did we do 42? I don't think so. Yeah, jobs have never really been my lucky place either. Even when I had them, just I've had some great ones, and great ones I did well at, loved them. But something always seemed to happen that could never put together a really big string of years at any one place. And ended up having to go from one to another just because of some freakish event or something. I worked in the printing industry for several years, and I was working at a printing company that was actually, I managed it. I worked my way up to management, and it was actually doing really super well. I was making good money there. My boss, however, liked to spend it. Which wasn't a problem when it's coming in, but when the World Trade Center was attacked, we printed business cards, and the profit, as soon as that happened, that one event, nobody in New York State was hiring. Everybody was worried about, nobody was getting new business cards. It just tanked so fast, and with all the previous great years and not saving money, you know how that story goes. For the bad times, he couldn't hang on to it. We just couldn't recover. The bills were coming in faster than the money. So that was one of them. Another one was got a job at Blue Shield of northeastern New York, and I was working in their computer room for a few years. Loved that job, monitoring the computer systems. I worked the night shifts and monitored the computer systems, printed reports and stuff like that for during the down hours, just to get the records and everything caught up. And then the Y2K scare came, and because of that, it forced the company to replace all their old antiquated computer systems. And when they did that, they decided to shut down the department I was working in completely and do it off-site in another location. So that job just disappeared as well. And then I also worked at an amusement company. It was a small amusement company, family-owned place, where video games in bars throughout our area and arcades and stuff. And I was hired on to pretty much assist the boss for a while because he had come down with cancer and needed some help on the job, and I knew him through some of my other jobs that I have had in the past. and it was owned by my boss and his brother. And when he did finally pass from his lymphoma, his cancer, the brother took over, and the brother really didn't know how to run a business. He was he knew how to spend the money, but he did not know how to run the business. He had the fancy cars and the nice big houses, and it would literally took like, I think, just about 3 years, 2 or 3 years before that business was all but gone. He started having to sell off pieces of it to other companies and started letting go people one at a time until it was pretty much dissolved. Break out your walker. Look at that. Lavender on the field. We're taking a truck over. I don't know why. I just have no idea why I'm driving a truck, but why not? Yeah, to do one thing all your life, what kind of life would that be? Exactly. Mix it up. Do actually it all depends. Do what you love. That is the key. Find a job that you enjoy. If you are so lucky to be able to do that, then it is not a job. I gotta fix that little spot of grass in the tunnel. The tunnels look awesome, by the way, Andy. Love them. Couldn't have done a better job on those tunnels. But yeah, find a job that you enjoy, and it isn't a job anymore. There's something about having one of those jobs that you don't mind getting up for work, you know, that you actually look forward to going to. I was this summer, like I was said earlier, I took my daughter to a glider place. That was one of the things I was able to get out and do with her. Do those glider rides where you're towed by a plane up in the sky and then just let go and glide around a little bit. And it was interesting talking to these guys, that the pilots there, because they're like, there is no better job in the world than doing what you really want to do, and they were pretty much doing it, just going to work to fly in gliders and getting paid for it and take people up. I mean, absolutely, it was an amazing thing too, by the way. Uh, It was one of those things I wanted to make a memory while she was here for a change, that we hadn't been able to do a lot of stuff like that. And I could not have done it without the support from you guys. IT job is always changing depending on your position. I'm sure it is. So this one spawned in just fine. Let's get that one. I'm not going to harvest them, but we should be good. That's 37. I'm just going to test them anyway. Let's take a look at the map while we're waiting for that. So 37 is barley, 38 is canola, 39 is some. So it does load them in order. 40 is soybeans, 41 is corn, and then 42 is potatoes, 43 is sugar beet. So yeah, they actually load in order of when you start the map, the fruit types. Every additional one will be a different fruit type. Kind of cool. Just double check them all. You never know when you screw something up until you test it out. That one's good. Facing the right direction. $38. Let the timer run out. Yeah, getting paid very well to have fun is always good. I had a couple great jobs like that too. I've had probably about 300. No, I don't even want to count the number of jobs I've had. It's amazing amount. So we're on field 39. Our equipment's good there. Did you guys notice that the field turns green like you owned it when the mission's active, but then when it isn't active, it takes it back away from you? Oh, we got to do that test. Let me finish this up. See what happens if we name a field with a name. Probably crash the sucker, but it got me curious now. Field 40. Yeah, we're doing good. Los Politos, thank you for the 4-month subscription. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. 4 months. Has it been that long since I started that? Wow, 4 months already. Thank you so much for your continued support. 41. Visit. Oh, we gotta wait for the timer. You had more bosses than jobs. I have had my share of jobs, my share of bosses. One of the biggest things is the types of jobs I had. Yep, we're facing the field. Were ones that were mostly manual labor throughout the years. And they're very tough to do when you got a fused spine now, like I do. So I can still do stuff, just nothing that I was ever trained for, and I'm not getting any younger. All right, let's go back to 42. I think we're all good, but I fire them up. If something doesn't work, then we have to know. Yeah, jobs that pay bills. Unfortunately, I think a lot of us get just a ton of those. You need one regardless if you like it, but it is always great when you can find one that you like and enjoy it. Hey, check it out. We've got the homer. Let's do a field of... No, let's not. Just kidding. All right, so we're up to 43 there. Looking good. Thanks for the tip there, Bonger. That made it so much easier. Let's quit out of there and keep on going. Oh, way more. You should count sometime. Oh, man. It's interesting, too. None of my... Well... None of my jobs... I was going to say none of my jobs really had anything in common, but technically, I guess, they all based off of customer service type stuff, most of them. So... I mean, even though I was manager at several places, it was because I was put in charge of making the customers happy. Or trying to, anyway. Alright, so we don't have fields over there, lots of trees over there, but this is a farm. We're going to keep on going right around. So we're going boing, boing, boing. And then, yeah, we'll hit this field here first. Field number 44 coming in. But before we do that, we need to find a place to start the mission on this field. Alright, let's see what we've got here. Nothing but nothing. I think I'll build it right off of this side, right over here, because it'll be easy to get to. $44. Oh, you know what we forgot to do too? Well, we'll do it after this. You don't have to do this all the time, but run the script to actually set the field sizes. It's a good thing to do. That way you get the proper prices for your missions and everything. So we got to get this facing the field, the 0. Make the blue arrow point to the field. And the field dimensions, we have to spin around facing north and mark the field from here. We've got a ton of fields. I don't know. I think I'm close to 80. Not as many as some of the other, but if you need more than 80 fields, then you are a better man than me, or woman than me, or you guys. 80 fields should be plenty to keep, plus all the extra grass that you can mow, or and trees that are around. I think there's going to be plenty. I think it's like 79, or I did try to count, but it's harder to count until you actually mark them, which I'm trying to do, but for some reason, every time I highlight the darn corner, I lose the cursor. Come on, you can do it. Gotta make sure. I know if I make sure it's blue up here, it'll work. But it should just be click on it. Corner 2. You're a lazy typer? What is a lazy typer? You skipping letters? You know what? What time is it? 9:58, 9:10. We got about an hour left here tonight. I think, just so you guys aren't completely bored with field markings, because I got to do a lot of these, let me set up this one. I'm going to jump into doing a little bit of something else that definitely needs to be done before I put it on the server. Just because we can. And our field map indicator for the middle. And now we should get us started in the other project that needs to be done as well. I do have to do a little bit of research, but actually we'll just do it the easy way. And that is setting up our default vehicles in the map. We got to set up on the farms. I've got to decide what equipment. So when we start, alright, let me first show you before we finish up doing this part for today. I got several more to mark, but let's run some scripts. What you want to do when you are marking your fields, you can highlight the fields little group, and you can run first script you can run to make sure you did everything. This isn't that important if you are the toggle render field areas. It isn't that important unless you have some weird shaped fields and you want to make sure that the mission harvesters can do the missions properly. But what that does is it toggles on to make sure you have the areas covered correctly. And if your blue area is not covering your field area properly, then you have an issue. And so far you can see ours are all working out pretty well. And some of the crazier shaped ones with the have to have more than one marking, and you can see just gotta get the blue area so it's over the field area, and you'll be okay with that. Because I'll probably be finishing this up before I see you guys next time. Second thing is you can toggle that back off by just running it again, and it will shut them off. And then you can go in and run the script set field sizes, and it will go through all the fields off of that. You got to make sure you have that field group selected that all the fields are in. It will set the hectares for all the fields, and we'll give you an idea. What was our biggest field so far marked? Let's check it out and see what we're at. I think it's this one right here. Appears to be the biggest field that we have on this farm. So if we highlight that one, it is a field 41. Now that the proper sizes are in, we'll check out and see how big field 41 is. 7.913, not a gigantic one by any, but it's a pretty good sized field. 7.9 hectares right there, and most of the fields are that size or close to it. There are some small ones. These are definitely not the biggest fields on this farm. That one's still big, but down here we have a lot of they're good sized fields, and some of them can be combined together to make larger ones. That right there is probably going to be one of the biggest fields I put on the map. So they're good sizes. Just, I think, been trying to stick with medium sizes. You can combine some of them together to make larger fields, but next thing we're going to do is the default vehicles. So the biggest thing is I got to think, and that's hard for me to do sometimes. And with that, we have to decide what vehicles are going on each of the farms. And thank you, Cold Bantor, with the host. Thank you so much. So what we're doing this year, just so you know ahead of time, is we are going to make it so each of the farms has different starting equipment based on its biggest strength, we shall say. So let's go over to, and what I'm going to do to make it easy, I think I saved already. Did I save? No, we didn't after we set the field app. We'll save it. I'm going to bring the pieces of equipment into place where they're supposed to be, and then save them and copy them into the vehicle XML file. So based on the strengths of each farm, they're going to start out with different abilities. Yeah, you could play this on single player. It's a big map to do on single player, but just like any of my other maps, if you're brave enough, right in the beginning, before we get all the extras in, it'll be pretty much just a large map with extra field type maps and extra fields and extra sell points until we figure out what we can do with the products. But definitely can play it single player. If you're a completionist, you may never get it done, but you can definitely play it. So we're going to jump into the save game, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit. So first thing is taking a little bit of a tour to the farm sites. I can't remember exactly what's on each one of them, but there are definitely strengths and weaknesses to each one. So the type of equipment they're going to get will be based on what their main strength is going to be on that one. Main farm in the middle is going to just have the standard default equipment as it always has. So this one here is going to stay just the way it is. But I'm going to take a little ride to the other farms, assess what's there already, because there are certain things that I have planned. I just have to visualize it. And knowing what's going to be around the area will kind of help fill it out a little bit based on the fields and their different things that they have. If you play the map enough, you will be a single player. Exactly, that's the thing. If you must play the maps to finish everything, then they can be a job playing single player. But if you can play it to enjoy it and know you always have stuff that's there to do, you know, it can be a pretty cool thing. You don't like Rivers was made so you didn't actually even have to buy the factory, but just doing it. Finishing it and doing it are a different thing. You can finish them probably with course play a lot easier. But I'm going to go up to this farm over here, park my truck. We're going to be driving some stuff to this farm that's up here. We're going to just start off. Basically have to decide what that farm's capability is going to be, its strength, its location, what's around, how it's going to work. And bring the equipment, park it in place, save it, copy it out to the right place, and continue on to the next one. But we got to get some default vehicles in. Where is that farm? See, that's what's amazing about this thing. This map is filled in so much, I don't even know where the heck I'm going because the farms aren't marked on the map yet. It's like, I know it's over in this direction somewhere. I almost have to go climb one of the mountains to take a look where I am. Is it down there? That's the one way over there. Okay, that's the lake. So it's this direction somewhere. Can't find my way around anymore. There it is, right down there. So this is the farm that has 2 BGA bunkers. So this farm is going to really be starting off with I think I'm going to bring in, I gotta decide. This one's definitely gonna be one of the ones that can create more silage and stuff, but there is not a lot of grass fields around. So I'm thinking of bringing one of the forage harvesters for planting corn and doing that sort of thing over here for this farm to start off with. That will be their one thing, really. So let me see what we have in the store that we can bring. Low end, gotta make you want to buy bigger, but definitely would be a great one to have for doing chaff for the bunkers on this farm. Let me get a bunch of money. Lots and lots of money. Okay. Forage harvesters. What's here? We give them. I don't even know how to. Does that do chaff? What does this do? Anybody? I never used this thing. Is that what that's for? Chaffing? I'll start you with that. They're gonna say no, no, no. You play Sudurgan Port, and I really love this map. 20 plus hectare fields. Yeah. Yeah, the ports are not always easy. Yes, there's a lot of those maps out there. People tell me they start them out and this isn't working, but they keep playing and then that's not working. Before you know it, they give up on them. Is there a quick way to fix collisions on all the decorations and trees so you can't go through them? No. That's a 2-row chaffer for a tractor. That's what I wanted to hear. That's what we're going to start these guys off with. So let's get some. Let's get some. We'll get that one there. We're going to start you off with the 2-row chaffer on this farm. I'm cruel, but you got to get some other equipment like a tractor. It has to be standard equipment too. Hey, what? Let's see. I'm gonna give you guys some choices. Okay. Here's your choices. If you could have for a starting tractor anything from this New Holland, the T6 down to the smallest, which one would you want for this farm? You get to choose. You can have anything from the T6 down for your starting tractor here. Most people probably say, but do you want the Vario, the Case, the Dutes, the T6? Throw up some answers. We'll see what the most popular one is, and that's what we'll get. T6. T6. Anybody else want anything different than the T6? T6 is a good tractor. It's going to need to have something. Somebody for the Dutes, another T6. It looks like the T6 is going to win, so we're bringing in a T6 for your needs on this farm. As well as we're going to need to grab you a seeder, a sowing machine to plant. And I am cruel. The one that does corn. So corn it will be. A nice real cheap sewing machine for you guys. Thank you so much for the follow there, Matter CA99. Alright, so we also need to get you a really, really crummy tipper to start with on this farm as well. Alright, so we got the... Well, it's going to be a... We'll do the Brantner, I guess, for you. Okay. Now we get to choose. You guys get to choose what color you want. It doesn't matter to me. It requires 150 horsepower, but I'm pretty sure, doesn't that have 150, the one we bought? We're going to find out. Anybody have a choice of color they would like to see for this farm? For this Brantner trailer? Actually, I think it should be blue myself, so it matches the tractor. If we need a bigger tractor... Let's see, the T6 probably did have 150 horsepower. Let's make it match, I think. Blue and black works. Because it'll match the, maybe a little bit lighter blue for the, yeah, we'll give that a try. We can change the color if we don't like it. All right. 150 horsepower. I'm pretty sure the T6 has that. 143. All right. So I guess we're going to have to get something with 150. All right. So we got to get you a little bit bigger to start on this. I think I'm going to switch it over to... Can we color that thing? No, we can't. I'd like the Valtra, but it's... Will it pull it? Do you think it'll work on with 100? Will it just not work? I don't know. It is pretty big. What's the deal? Doesn't have enough power, or will it work? Let's find out. It'll work. You're stuck with this tractor. Sorry. It'll work. You're close to the horsepower. You're going to have to work it. Work it good. Yep. So you have your planter. Whoops. Your trailer, your planter. You can start planting your corn over there, and if you start off the game and your starting field is not corn, I gotta work on the starting field, see how that's done. But might need a weight. If you need a weight, you're gonna have to put you need to have the wagon on the back of the tractor right now. You guys can work that up, you know. You know how I am. If you want to get a weight for it eventually to do other stuff, you're gonna just have to keep working it. That's Bad's farm. We're going to have one that does grass too, but this one's going to be more of a chaff type because there's not a lot of open fields around it. You see, now you might be able to work with the guy down the street. You know, that's the whole point. There are fields up here, but not a lot around this farm directly to just do grass. So one of these field farmers is going to start out with the mowers. Another one's going to start out with basic forestry equipment and so forth. So you'll all have different things that you can start doing, but they're going to be independent of each other, and then you can work to get your other equipment and do the stuff if that's the way you decide to play. If you're a single player, this is going to come in real handy because you'll have starting equipment to do just about everything, but it's going to be really low-end stuff, you know. So we'll set up the this farm up here. We'll save it. We'll copy the equipment over and continue on from there. You put a mule. This is kind of cool though. I like the colors. It matches really well, that trailer with the what you have here. Now, interestingly enough, you'll be able to get your chaff in the bunker and you'll be able to cover it, but we're gonna have to probably go back and get you some loader arms on this tractor on the next trip, as well as... Oh, I missed a turn. Well, when you miss a turn, you know what you do? You go off the wall. No, that's the interesting thing about this map. You need to know where you're going ahead of time. Alrighty. So let's set some of this stuff up over here where it's going to be when you bring it in. Keep it kind of straight would be nice of me, wouldn't it? We'll drop off that there for now. And that piece there. Go pick up the rest of this stuff. Ah, you got to work on the silage leveler. You don't get one of those to start with. You're going to have to buy that. Not needed. Definitely helps, but I did my first couple bunkers on my single player without the leveler. That's something you got to work for. I've thought about putting some guardrails in, but we're going to have, you got a lot of light posts and stuff that have to go in first, so it's going to be a little bit different. We may have some guardrails coming in certain areas to keep you guys honest and using the proper roads. You could easily drive off of into nowhere land around here. Oh no selling price increase on silage. Here's the deal. Each of these bunkers has its own selling prices, so we are changing. Actually, thank you for the follow there, Vanky Kong 0317. What I am doing is well, that's the thing. This farm here alone will probably have a better be able to dump more before the price drops, so it'll drop slower because he has the two bunkers, and it may have a little bit faster recovery time because that is what its strength is on this farm, is going to be the silage. However, everything else for this poor guy might suck a little bit more. Did I miss my turn again? Not everything, but you know, it'll be standard for several other things. Man, I can't wait to get street signs in here so I know where I'm going. Because it's like, I think I took the right turn. Yeah, I'm heading back to the store. Is there a way to put an extra storage silo that you have to buy before you use it in store stuff? Not that I know of right now. But what can be done is, yeah, actually, let me think about that. It has to be tested. I keep forgetting about doing that field test. Every time I say test, it reminds me, and I'll forget again. But there is a way to. Let me put some arms on this thing for you. I suppose, in theory, let's get the front loader. Engine setup's fine for now. Alright, let's get some arms. In theory, we could put in a invisible, non-existent silo, or maybe even a silo with a zero capacity, and make the placeable silos attached to it to bring in the you know what I'm saying, increase the capacity of that. We're going to get into doing more with the placeable silos in a little while, you know, once we get there, but I imagine this is the loader one right here that we need. Let's make it match. See if we got the right one here. But yeah, that would be one way to go with extra storage, is then you'd have to buy it through placeable objects though. And we'll get you a shovel to mess around with. because that's the way we are. Nice blue shovel, so it's all this a nice set. Yeah. And your cedar. So that's your starting equipment there. You have enough to scoop and dump and get your stuffs. I do that all the time. Jump out of the vehicle instead of hook onto something. Must be the way I have my key combos set up on my hand controller this year compared to last. I'm still not used to it. So in thinking, yeah, you could put a dummy silo or an area that's marked so that you can drop silos in. It start with 0. You do have to have the original trigger, I guess. So you'd have to have a silo, but you could set a starting silo at a 0 capacity so it's completely useless until it's added onto. Now we'll look into adding silo additions that are larger capacity upgrades, you know, bigger silos to drop in to upgrade farms rather than just the current amounts and stuff like that, because there's a bigger map. So rather than having to do 100,000 at a time, we'll look into a larger single silo that adds 500,000 to the product and stuff. If we can pull that off, we should be able to. You're not getting a leveler. No leveler. You get to buy it. If I give you everything in the beginning, then what are you going to have to do? You know how I work. This farm, no leveler. It's only a couple $1,000s. It's going to be your first purchase. At least you're lucky I'm giving you the shovel. I'll give the guy on the other side of the map the leveler. The guy that's doing the job. And that may be true. We'll give the guy grass on the completely opposite side of the map, the leveler, but we won't give him the shovel. See how I work? Yep, every farm can do something different, and that's the plan, is they'll hopefully be geared toward by their area and what's around them and what they have on their farm to do certain tasks a little bit easier. So we'll get this farm set up. I think we'll probably have time to do one more after this. I keep going down the wrong road, but at least I know I gotta keep heading north. There's gonna be something up here. It's a nice little place for like some type of feed mixing area or something, which would be a cool thing to be close by to one of the farms. We have to figure out what else this farm is going to have on it, and then that might come in handy. So we'll put this right over here. The cedar can go right next to that. Look at that. That thing works when it's not connected to anything? Did you see? That's freaky. See that? It's like alive. I never noticed that. Alright. Let's bring this right over here. But the thing is, if you put, for single players, if you put all this stuff that's going to be out here together, you're going to have a lot of equipment. That's why I really got to keep it down. A lot of people I know will probably just go ahead and sell off a lot of the equipment and buy back what they want if they're single player. But, whoops. But if they're playing in a group, then they're going to, here, let's drop the bucket out a little bit. Then they're going to want to have, yeah, you'll have your different things to do. Why is it not allowing me to? Is there a reason why I can't drop the arms? I am such a noob at this. There we go. Alright, so We have everything in place for that starting farm to do chaff right off the bat. Not a lot, but we'll save the game. Well, that was quick, wasn't it? Here, do it. I don't think it's saved. There we go. And jump out and grab those equipment pieces. Now we got to remember what all of them were. Replace the shovel with a spoon and give him the leveler. Yeah, that can be done. All right, let's jump into my documents, my games, save game 2, vehicle XML file, edit with Notepad++. Up near the top, we have to find the vehicles that we need. Interesting thing is that we're going to do a search right here. Let's Control F. Whoops. And I'm going to search for age of 0 because that'll highlight oh, I was going up. Let's go down the list. It would help. Because that should bring us to, unless the age, these are placeables, placeables. Isn't the new vehicles that we've just bought, shouldn't they be apparently not age 0? I thought that they would be. What are they, age 0.1 or something, probably stupid now. Operating time. We bought new vehicles. But I gotta determine which ones we have compared to which ones we just purchased. And why does it seem like they're not here? Didn't I save this? It was save game 2, wasn't it? That we did? Hello? Yeah. Because these are the starting vehicles that are already in it. What the heck happened? Alright. Do we have 2 metal tech trailers? No, no, no. Lizard pickup. They're not there. You guys saw me hit the save button, right? Am I out of my mind? Am I losing my mind? Or did something just completely go wacky? Let's check it out. Save game 2. I'm just checking to see if it's all there. Because I'm not seeing it in the vehicle XML file. That's what's weird. That's there. Save game 2. Everything's there. I gotta be missing something. So save game 2 in the vehicle. I must have clicked on FS15 or I don't know. No, but we'll find it. All right. Over to our save game 2. It's in My Games Farming Simulator save game 2 vehicle XML saved at 10:20 p.m. It's this file. Why am I not seeing my vehicles? at the top. I see one New Holland. Well, what do you know? You got the objects. Do they go to vehicles again somewhere? Lots of loaded objects. They gotta be in here. Why am I blind? Thank you, Keenan and Brianna. Keaton and Brianna 2615. All right. We have the Case IH starter, Case IH cutter, a New Holland, but it's age 52. We just bought new vehicles. I did the Kuhn, the Case IH. They're all cases. There's vehicle ID 7. I have no idea why they're not appearing in here. So, the Metal Tech starter with an age of 78, age of 96. They get grouped under farm. Usually they're right up there in the well, the farm triggers, but there's no. Let's see. What was that? Text something or other. What was that? I'm gonna just go down through the whole thing. I don't know why I'm missing it. Lots of bunker silos and stuff. Our extra BGAs and storage, but the vehicles are at the top of the file usually. Not this year, huh? Alright, so I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way. All that work for what? Let's see. I don't know why they're not in this year. This is all new. Tip triggers, farm silos, loaded objects. Huh. Baffling. Just to mess me up. Alright. So this is how it's going to have to be done. Sell off everything but your new vehicles. Yeah, I could try that. See if what happens. That's a good idea. That might bring them. We'll sell off that, and then that way they'll be easy to copy out. But it's just weird that they're not showing up. They should be there. They should be there. They're on the farms. That's where it keeps the information for the vehicles. Have no idea why it's not there. What it's reading from. Yeah, and it's a Brantner trailer. You're right. Why is it not in the list? They must be doing something a little differently. Maybe they keep them out of the list if they're. I have no idea. But the starting vehicles show up. So let's go to the store. In the garage. And sell off this. And if it's in there, we'll see it. We need that. We don't need this. Don't need that right now. That might be the best way to check. That's a piece that belongs there. That does not. Oh, we might need to give him a cultivator eventually. I didn't even think of that, but hey. I can add that in if I figure this out. Okay. Everything gone equipment-wise except for the starting equipment on that farm. And in save game 2 file. Maybe I have to it's there, but Oh, it's all there. As far as I think you're referring to the multi-fruit stuff. All right. Save game 2. Let me go back. Farming sim. Save game 2 vehicle XML. It's been reloaded. All right, we've got it all here. Vehicle 1 through 6. It's there now. Those are the ones we need. So we're going to just copy those into our default vehicle XML. It's the easy way to do it. We're going to go to Pleasant Valley, PV17 map, and default vehicle XML. Edit with Notepad. I am going to actually, you have your career vehicles section. This is the whole section. But you can do a little notation. Usually. Can't we just make a... I think that was farm 4. That's what I was calling it. It doesn't do it that way. I thought we could just do a notation. Is it just dash dash? Nah, I don't know. Alright, we'll just not worry about it. We'll just copy it in there. Can't remember. It's been a long time. We need to just take out the vehicle ID numbers. Leave the file name. And you can set the age if you want to change the age. You really don't need most of this information, but I'm going to just leave it in. I might have to make some changes. I haven't done it this year this way, so all the component IDs and stuff aren't actually needed. You have a property state. 1 is absolute is not needed. But you do have an X, Y, and Z position, which is not stored up here, but down here, X, Y, and Z. So you definitely, if I'm going to just go with this and see if we can get them to work, though, without the ID numbers. And if it doesn't work, we'll have to set it up the other way. It's all new to me. Just for the heck of it. Let's see what happens. We might have to format it like the upper vehicles are there. Oh, I forgot the... Yeah, I know I was doing something wrong. It's been a while. Let's see if this will read it. If we have the equipment on the farm, then it read it. That's pretty... Oh, wait, we started the same save game. I got to do a clean save game. This will show me nothing. Let's try that over. Yeah, I was going to label it Farm 4. I could do that. I'm probably going to end up setting it up eventually like the other one, but just using the values, getting the proper values in there is the important thing. Format it so you don't have all the extra junk. This just takes time. Let's see what happens. I'm just curious if this will load up the vehicles the way I just did it, because that would be super simple. Oh, did I start the wrong map? Yes. I think it's almost time to end this show. I can't. I'm losing concentration on what I'm doing. We'll check it out and see what's going on. Let's see. If one third time's a charm. We got to set it so Pleasant Valley's the default map. Yeah, now you tell me. Wrong map. Jay Dunn, 1019. Thank you for the $10 donation. Thank you so much. All right, we're on the map. Let's see if we have the equipment that we should have everything or it didn't load, one or the other. So we got all the original pieces and we do have it. So that was a pretty easy way to get our default equipment exactly where we want. Just delete the ID number and leave everything else the same and you can get it in there for that farm. So not too hard. You don't want the ID numbers because it's going to conflict with the other stuff possibly. So you'll get duplicate ID numbers, especially doing it by farm. So let's check out one of the other ones. We'll grab this truck. We'll grab some equipment for the other one. Thank you, Reclining Gamer, for the follow. Jay Dunn, 1019. Thank you so much for your donation and all the donations that came in tonight. Wolfie 7009 and Lars Monson, thank you so much for your huge donations. While we're running over to another one of the farms, this one's going to be the cow farm, so we're going to give that one some stuff to get him going with the animals. It's right nearby the store. And yeah, Friday, if I do a show, it's going to be a little bit later. I'm trying to work on like a Christmas special event for Christmas coming up. I've got some ideas, and it'll be interesting. But Friday, if we do a show, it'll be starting a little bit later. So I'll leave a message up whether I can do it or not. By 10 o'clock, I'll just chime in and set it up if I can or cannot make it in the title bar. And then, yeah, you guys, I hope I can get here Friday and get something going, but I'm going to start working on putting a little something special for you guys together for Christmas as well. All right, so what do you think we should start off with for the animal farm here? Definitely has a big ridge in there that I got to take out. Did you guys see that? That's the kind of stuff my testers are going to find. See that big pothole? Got to fix that. That's huge. I'll try to fix that before I remember. So this farm here is going to have a starter field. We need to put in stuff for animals for doing cows. So we need to have another different front loader and shovel, I would suspect. And there's no mowing going to be going on over here, though. So we'll just get him a small combine, I think, to start off. Let's see. Definitely get this one a combine. Did it? Yeah, you get junk. And a header. Everybody needs a tractor of some sort. We'll bring in another. I think with this one we're gonna go with a little, because he's got a combine over here. He's gonna get a smaller tractor, not too small. Which one do we want? Can also attach a front loader. Yeah, we could do that one. The Massey. I don't know if I want to go too high. Well, Decisions, decisions. A burger place. We could put a burger place on this farm. Alright. The case is a pretty good starting tractor. We'll give it the case over here. They're pretty cool. Front loader attacher, yes, because he's going to be scooping stuff up with the standard wheels. Front loader with that red, I think, is what matches. And shovel for that one. They got a combine, they got a shovel, and a sewing machine, which will be, well, I don't want to be, we'll give them the sewing machine and a cultivator. Basic farming equipment, but it'll have a shovel as well. Let's see what we have over here. Alright. Drive some of this stuff over. Yeah, I'm gonna look into editing the ages of the vehicles, make them a little bit older so they're not brand new stuff for sure. I'm gonna clean up that file a little bit so it looks a lot nicer down the road, but just for our getting started up this time on our server, I'm just gonna get it in there. But ages definitely are gonna, we'll make some things a little bit older than, actually, you know, you don't even have to adjust the age once it's in the starting XML. You could adjust the price to 0 and they wouldn't get anything if they sold it off. I've done that. Wrong map. Send you a copy of the map. Onward to the farm, and we'll park this over there, get our equipment lined up. I'm gonna have to sell off all the other equipment so that I make it easier to find the pieces I have, which is not good because I just bought duplicates of a lot of this stuff. Alright. But I will say this, you're starting off on this farm. Some of the farms are going to have more starting fields than others too, depending on what they have too. We're going to have it completely mixed up. That'll work there. And the shovel. And our seeder. Mod idea, engine overhaul. Repair mod exists. Yep, resets the age to 0. I would like to see a little bit more advanced repair mod. I'd rather keep the age, but we were discussing actually the other day what Farm Expert does have that this game doesn't have is actually an age layer, just like the dirt layer. That would have been really cool, kind of bringing in some rust and cracks and stuff to make it actually look like it's aging as it gets up there in the years and looks like an old tractor. In addition to the dirt level, you have an aging level. That would have been kind of cool. Let's put that right over this way. But yeah, I'd like to see something that doesn't actually reset the age, but just lowers your repair costs for a little bit. That would be ideal. Just drop your repair costs down because you do a maintenance interval. Tune-up. You and your weights. You can buy a weight. It's only a couple hundred. I, I can honestly say I've got I don't know how many hours in my single player game and I haven't bought a weight yet. I haven't needed one. Do you really need a weight for anything? I mean, really. Do you really need it? I have never used one. Not for just the basic stuff. Thanks, Amaki. We'll catch you later. Thanks for stopping in. Where's that shop? I gotta pick up my other pieces. It's up here. We'll just finish setting up this farm equipment over here, and then I'm gonna be calling it a night too. And I've got several farms to go, but I get tired of doing the same thing. So hopefully by the next time I see you guys, there will be a lot more done, and we can get into some more interesting stuff as well, adding some of the new buildings and stuff in. But while you're gone, I do have things to tend to with Christmas coming, and I will be finishing up marking all those fields. Hopefully I'll have that done and all this default equipment done by on tomorrow, and then Friday I'll be pretty busy, but we'll have the weekend to get some other stuff done. Who knows what'll be in there, but we'll catch you all up on Monday when I get back for sure. The weights made a difference for turnaround and hired workers in FS15. Yeah, I know they make a difference. I just haven't seen too much need to start with them. You can get a lot done without them, and they're inexpensive enough for you guys to purchase them on your own. I'm not so concerned about starting you out with your weights as much as getting you just the basic stuff to get going. So we need to get a trailer over here though. Wide tire, nah, I want to, what colors do we have in the Brantner? Yeah, see, we can color the Brantners, that's what I like. I like to make the farms have sort of color matching schemes. Heavy log lifting with front loader. Yeah, if you want to lift logs, but this isn't the log farm, so he gets no weights. When we get to the one that does, they'll get extra stuff for that. No problem. There will be weights on the map, but in places where they're actually needed to start off with. Not saying you don't need them, but you can definitely get this stuff done on this with this starting equipment on this farm without one. But for moving some logs around, the other farms will definitely have some of that stuff. But it's really just trying to keep, there's going to be so much of it after you fill up 6 farms that I'm just trying to keep the starting equipment down pretty good. Big Pun 7, thank you for the follow. Reclining Gamer, if I missed you, thank you for the follow. I can't remember all the time. I'd never stop talking. So, is there anything else I really missed on this farm you guys think of? Help me out here. I might have, so I don't have to come back and do this again. You can harvest, you can collect, you can dump stuff, you have a loader, but you don't have the actual extra stuff to do the grass. You're going to rely on 2 other farms for your grass and stuff for feeding your cows, but you'll be able to get some of the other stuff and be able to scoop it up and move it around. So I think you'll be pretty good. You also are going to have to rely on some of the other farms for doing your fuel because you don't get any, but you'll get some extra capacity on the silos if you're over here. Let's park that in there, right? Just make it at least a little bit straight for starting vehicle. and pull this right up next to it. Cows eat grass. Yep, you're gonna have to get grass from somewhere else. Manure spreader, small slurry sprayer. We're gonna actually, that wouldn't be a bad one for here to have a yeah, we can add a small one. Let's see what we got. If there's a manure spreader or slurry tanker. Slurry tank. We can throw in the Garant over on this farm. Whoops, not that one. Just the small one. I don't mind putting that in. Whoops. But it has to match the color of the farm. You know, just has to. What is that? Wait, design, white, color. Okay, I guess. Plows for each farm. They will have to be purchased. There will be a plow on the grass farm, but he's not going to have a combine over there. He'll have mowers and plows, and I just have to figure out which farm that's going to be. You got to keep in mind too, it's a single player, so I'm mixing up the equipment so that if you do play single player, you don't actually have to have 10 plows on the map, or 6 plows, or whatever it comes out to be. But I do want you to, if you're playing multiplayer, to have to interact with some of the other farms. Maybe borrow a piece in the beginning from one guy, or have him bring over loads of grass. That type of thing. So share. That's the deal. Nah, it's not the prettiest Garant color tank. It'll work. Yeah, well, you are going to start off for now. We might mix it up later. Like I said, we'll test when we test it. We'll see what farms might need something a little bit different. They create slurry here too, right? The BGA farm should definitely get the slurry tanker down the, or maybe, well, maybe not. We'll see. Gotta count up the equipment later on and see what it cost-wise, how things work out here. You're lucky I'm giving anybody a slurry tanker. That's usually a no-no for me, but but we'll stick a small one on the map somewhere. And we'll bring this over and park this one here. Let's see, we need to select my shovel. Come on, a little lower. There we go. Alright. In the garage, I can tell you that this can go. That's not on this farm. I'm guessing because this one's higher price. Oh, whoa. This one's the one that we have. These two, we're going to lower the, but it's obvious that with the price here that's the unaged one. That one looks newer than this one because of the higher price. I hope I get this right. It should be this one here is the last one bought. Moving on down, case combine, get out of here. And just clear out all the rest of this stuff. This one should go. If all works out well, we're on the right track. Are we going to put the real estate office in this map? No. Real estate office will not be in here because of the way things are done differently, and because the way that you have to have the field setup. They are set up so that the missions run off of where the field marker is, so you can't move them into another place. Alright. Let's see. Did I just kill anything? I did, didn't I? So I messed that up. I thought I had the right ones. Wow, that sucks. Well, anyway. We've got that. I'm going to have to bring over... Well, nope, the cultivator and seeder are there. What did I just lose? Just the arms? And the... I just lost the arms. Darn. I took the lower cost ones and sold them. I thought for sure. I'll have to get the arms and the shovel back. And then we'll be good. Next time, remind me to delete everything before I add the new stuff in. It makes it easier. Got that? On every game you start by harvesting any crop you can and set the combine and buy hand logging package, chainsaw, medium tractor, tractor mounted, small crane. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing about this map, though. You don't need to, I mean, you talk about just even a spreader. $12,000. Run a mission. You got one. It's not like you don't have something to do now to get those extra couple things, you know? It's very easy to pick up a front loader arm and shovel in the beginning. I mean, it's a mission. That's all it takes. One mission and you can get it. So I'm being generous with a couple extra pieces. True. Yeah, but in multiplayer, yeah, you're going to have to work together. That's right. No missions in multiplayer. It's intended for both. But multiplayer, you have the other farms to depend on as well. That's what the point is. So, again, if it's single player, you can run missions to get these extra pieces. Multiplayer, you ask your friend to come over with his spreader and do your fields. You got to work together in multiplayer. That's the point. You know, you really only need one cultivator. Hey, can you come over and do cultivate? But we won't go to that extreme. Did I get rid of the tipper too? Is that what you were saying? Or is it still here? No, I think I lost my tipper too. Tipper 2. Man. Alright, let's go back and get a tipper. I don't know why that one was so darn cheaper than the other one. But it is what it is. I guess I should have sold off the other ones because they're not here and I'm just going to do it all over again. I'll figure it out. T6 at wait. T6 at BGA will not run chaffer. It will attach to it but not turn on. Hey Chetty, how you doing? I'm not quite following you. T6 at BGA will not run the chaffer. I mean, we just turned on the T6 and the chaffer, the small one, with no problem. It was running it. Yeah, all but one could sell their combines if you did it that way. Now we'll make some adjustments, I'm sure, as time goes on. But I got to get a starting setup on the server for us to get our game going. And we'll have a lot of people starting right off the bat, so a little bit of equipment here and there. Figure out what starting fields they're going to have. There's not going to be a lot of starting fields. It might only be the original farm will have the regular starting fields, but these additional farms will probably only have one field owned each, unless one of the farms might have two. One might not have any. If it's the grass farm, might have 0. What new crops can you expect? Currently, it's kind of up in the air what we can get into the map because of an issue with how many field types you can have, but we already added new ones to the map. So those new ones, we have peanuts, mustard, and lavender added that we didn't have last year. And we added in the sorghum, sugarcane, and millet and oat and rye. So those are new as well. And that's pretty cool. Alright, so we have our starting equipment here. The question is, there should be pieces up on the other farm. How will I know? Let's see. Where is the other farm? Right up here. Da-da-da-da-da. Right over here. We'll try to visit. Can we visit fields when they're... No, I guess you can't. Once they're owned, you'd have to flip through. Well, let's jump close. Where are we? Yeah, the field type. It's supposed to take 256 field types. And I know that that's the limit, but for some reason, fill types, once you hit 64, it crashes the game and won't load it up. So I don't know if that has been fixed or if it's a multi-fruit script problem or if there's a problem that I haven't looked into it since then. But there's definitely an issue. So we have to figure out what that is. Is there the cultivators and everything are all gone over here? It looks pretty good. Alright, we'll save this up. I think there's extra pieces on one of these farms. Probably the farm over here. Where would that farm be? It's hard to tell. We have to have... No, wait. It was this one over here. Or was it here? Wait, let me figure this out. Swing the map around. Yeah, I think it was right where I am. Down there. Oh, this is the farm. Okay, that's that one. So it would be Northwest Farm. Up here somewhere. Dun 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 dun. Jump on a hill. Is that northwest? Not far. Oh, we don't have the fields marked. That's why. I can't go over there. I have to run. I have to climb the mountain. I just want to make sure I don't have, well, if I open the garage I could check. We still have 2 Brantners. The scary thing is I just sold one off, and I sold the cheaper one because I thought that it was, can you jump to a Brantner? I don't want to sell the wrong one again. Anybody have any clue? Because I have a couple of duplicates. It's just the shovel, the Brantner. I would think by now the second one purchased would be the one that I'm afraid. I'm gonna go with the one that's lower price again. The first one in the list as being the last one purchased. Just one piece and see what happens. But I don't want to have duplicates in my thing. So let's see what happened. Did I sell the wrong one? Nope. Alright. So I still have, so the first one in the list was the older one. Let's see if that holds true for the bucket. No, it did not. So let's sell the bucket off. There is an easier way to do this. Don't be as tired as I am. Because if I just sold all the buckets and everything off to start with, it wouldn't be a problem. And the Brantner trailer. One more trip. Do I need the trailer again? Did I just sell the wrong trailer? The prices are just wacky. Looks like I did. Why is that the one that you buy later shouldn't... Oh no, the trailer's there. Okay, the trailer's good. Yeah. Alright, so all I need is a shovel. Not too bad. We'll go pick up a shovel. But next time I gotta just remember to do that. And you wonder why I get no work done around here. Because I keep doing stupid stuff like this. Everything else is there. But if I have duplicates, I'm just going to copy them over the top of the other ones when I copy them out of the file, and then we're going to have issues. And yeah, that's not good. One more shovel. At least I did it on the farm that's close by. That'll be 3 of 6 farms set up, and I'll do the other 3 over the weekend. And there will be one that is primarily a harvesting farm, which will be the main. Actually, that one's already kind of set up, the harvesting. But there will be another one that's going to be set up for harvesting corn and sunflowers and stuff. And then there will be one that's set up for grass, and there will be one that's set up for forestry. And then that should be all of our farms. One of them is going to be set up geared more toward harvesting sunflower and that type of thing. Actually, there's going to be one, yeah, the grass one will have the forage wagon as well. Good night, Authorman82. We're almost done here. I'm way over time. I'm just going to set this up, drop those in, and call it a night myself. So, Friday, if I'm here, it'll be late. But Monday we will be back, and we should have a lot done by Monday if I don't make it Friday. And I'm also looking at doing something for a little bit Christmas special as we get a little bit closer. I have to look at a calendar. Maybe like a Friday night or something right before Christmas. We'll throw something in there with some giveaways and a couple other cool things that I have planned. But I'm waiting on hearing back from somebody if I can do my idea or not. There we go. All right, now we can save it and copy that junk out of there. Whoops, let's quit. And that's save game 3, I believe we were just on. Pretty soon. Alright. Save game 3. Vehicles. Oh, opened it up in web browser. I do that sometimes. I gotta switch that over. I don't know why it opens up in my browser. Okay. So vehicle XML, vehicle from 1 down to 9 on that one there. We'll copy those into our default vehicles. And we have to put them at the end of these and then remove the... We'll give a few spaces so we can tell where we start off. Just remove our ID numbers. Start it off with file name. So we got the case, the sample Rosaloo combine header, the Cedar Great Plains, the cultivator thingy bobber, the cot tank, and the front loader, and the Brantner trailer, and the shovel. So that's that farm. We'll save it. We'll open it up. Make sure everything is there on a clean save game. And then we'll call it a night. If all's there, then we're good. Night Farmer at 75. Get back to map making. A natural coastal forest. Nice. I'm going to remove save game 2 and keep save game 3 just in case I screwed anything up and have to get it back. Now if we have everything, we can tab through all the vehicles. That's there, that's good. That's farm 1. We still got all our blue stuff. And our everything here. And then we have everything here. Yay! So we're good. 3 farms down, 3 to go. Thanks everyone for watching. When we come back, we'll have all those farms done and hopefully all the fields marked so we can start adding some of the interesting stuff to all these farms. But that will be either Friday late, like 10-ish Eastern Standard Time, or back on Monday if we don't make it for Friday, Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, have a great weekend, whatever it is. And again, thank you so much for the donations, Jay Dunn and Wolfie7009 and Lars Monson for your kind donations. I really appreciate it. Have a great night.